I want you to know this. Like, I want you to verbally hear me say this, is that I formally relieve you of the pressure of ever having to make up for what you perceived was lost time, or make up for any sort of mistakes you thought you made. Life is life, bro.
Yep.
You know, and the older I get, the more I realize, man, this man had 5 kids by 24. That's hard.
Yep.
Without anybody telling them what to do, that's hard. And you know what? Mama do be tripping. So it is what it is, right? And nobody tells you how to fight this fight called manhood,
That's
right? And the continuous war that we have internally between the man that we should be and the you know what that we are consistently.
My daddy is the best it ever was.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a very special edition of the Fatherhood Show. This episode we'll get right into because the guest of honor is Tyrone Void Sr., which TJ Void stands for Tyrone Void Jr. Pops, appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, sir.
So first of all, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Taking day by day. That's all I'm doing, man. Taking it day by day. One step at a time. You can't move forward unless you put one foot in front of the other.
It's true. So we're going to get, man, how we typically do is we start at the very beginning, right? So talk to me about growing up. You know, where were you born? Which I know, obviously. But brothers and sisters, things of that nature. How was it growing up is what we'll eventually get to, man. But growing up, talk to me about how it was growing up.
Growing up was kind of difficult for me, because I come up with 8 siblings.
8 siblings.
8 siblings.
And where are you?
And I'm the 6th.
6, okay.
Yeah, I'm number 6. There was 6 boys and 2 girls.
Okay.
So, but coming up, we had only thing I could say mostly, man, I had to learn some stuff because we had what we call a residential father.
Talk to me about that.
Man, he was there.
Okay. Physically?
Physically, but he didn't support a whole lot of things that we was involved in.
Okay.
And I grew up an angry kid.
Because of that?
Because of that.
Okay.
I grew up a
so
real angry kid.
When you say he didn't support a lot of things you were doing, what are we talking about? Like sports you played?
Schoolwork.
Yeah.
Sports. Matter of fact, I went through my whole entire high school.
Yeah.
And I was the only one that didn't have books. He refused to buy me books.
So you had to buy books in school?
We had to buy books in school back then.
What was his reasoning?
He didn't have a reason.
Okay.
Only reason. Once I got grown, he told me that the reason why he did that with me and treated me the way he treated me was because he saw him growing up in me, and he didn't like it, and he didn't know how to deal with
it. Which is interesting, right? Because becoming a father, right, which we'll get into later. I heard somebody tell me this, man, and it stuck with me in the way that I deal with my son. And they said the hardest thing to parent out of your kids is you.
Yes.
Like, it's hard to parent the you out of you. Why do you feel like he resented himself to the point that he had to take it out based on the characteristics he saw in you?
Because I was one of the ones that mostly paid attention to him, and and I after a while I saw myself mimicking some of the stuff that he did.
Oh.
And then I thought about it.
As a kid, you were mimicking.
Yeah,
okay.
as a kid. And then when I thought about some things, and I thought about how, man, I don't want to be like my father. See, and I spent too much time saying I don't want to be like my father.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That you ended up practicing some of the things that you thought you hated.
That's right.
Okay.
And then as a kid, coming up, I was always left behind.
Okay.
I was always left behind.
By who?
By the parents and family.
Okay.
There was a time that they took family portrait and I wasn't in the portrait.
Huh.
So, and that as a kid, I was angry, that bothered me. And, so they said, well, maybe something wrong with him, maybe he got a slight retardation or something, because they didn't understand me. And they always say, well, he's a mean kid.
Right.
I wouldn't go around people. Family reunions, I wouldn't eat around them.
Really?
Yeah, my mom would fix me something different to eat. Everybody else at Thanksgiving, they eating turkey and ham and all that stuff. Not me. I'm eating You know, my mom would cook me fried chicken or make me bologna and pork and beans and rice.
Why though? Like, why do you think that your mom did that?
She did that. She thought she was protecting me.
Okay. So she thought she was giving you special treatment.
She thought she was giving, yeah. She thought she was, yeah.
But really, for you, you wanted to be with everyone else.
I wanted to be with everybody else. I wanted to be with everybody else.
So how did that anger materialize? Like, what did you do? Because back in the day, right, still in the black community, it's taboo to take your kids to get any sort of counseling, any sort of mental evaluation, because we take it personally, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a reflection on poor parenting. Even in education now, we'll say stuff like, well, it starts at home.
Yeah.
Hey, well, maybe it does.
Yeah, maybe it does.
But maybe the parents are doing the best they can with the information that they have. Do you feel like that's what your dad did?
But see, that's a vital point right there. Because once I got grown, and I stopped and realized some things, I looked back, and my father died at a young age. So my grandfather died at a young age. He was raised by his older brothers.
Okay.
So his fatherhood.
Your dad was?
Huh?
Your dad was raised
My dad was.
Okay.
He was the baby of the family.
Okay.
So his thing as being a father was almost like being a brother.
See, that's what he knew.
That's what he knew. See? So, and as we grew, you know, he been the father the best way he knew how. And that was because he started treating us like we was a younger brother rather than the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so, man up kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing that he would tell us what a man's supposed to be, you know, I mean, you kids, you didn't know back then. You know, you say, hey, well, my dad said that's what you're supposed to do to be a man. You thought that was the thing to do.
Again, becoming a man and raising a young man, I'm starting to realize like a lot of stuff we were taught, it's just not that.
No.
Like manhood is just, I've said that often, manhood is just not that.
Not that.
At all.
It's not that.
How long was it, or did you ever feel like your relationship with your dad got better?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Because he died in 92.
Yes.
Right?
91.
91. And for us, we knew Granddad Dennis as being crazy, but he was the nicest dude in the world to us. Like, he wouldn't let nobody touch us.
He became like that.
He protected us, right? Which people say grandparents are different with their grandkids. But when did you guys, because when he died, it obviously hit the family pretty hard.
Yeah.
When did your relationship start to get better, start to improve?
In 79.
So you were, how old?
I was 20.
20?
Yep.
So you'd already left,
No.
right? Okay, so 20. What happened?
When he put me out the house in 20. At 20. No, he put me out at 19 because I turned 20 that March. I joined the military.
Because he put you out?
Because he put me out.
Okay.
I wanted to get away.
What were you going to do before then? What was your plan before then?
My plan before then, you know what? To tell you the honest truth, I didn't have a plan. To be honest, I was so angry.
Yeah.
That I didn't want to wipe out my whole family and find out. I was planning to wipe out my whole family and plan a way to get out of it.
When you say wipe out, tell me.
I'm talking about wipe out.
Really?
Yes.
In the most gruesome sense of the word.
Most gruesome way you can.
Man, okay.
Most gruesome way you can.
For me, that's news because you guys always seem like you're close knit for me.
Because you know what, we have learned to hide a lot of stuff. And we say, well, ain't no use in telling them that, ain't no use in telling them this, ain't no use in telling them that. And that messes up growing up as a man.
Okay.
Sometimes you gotta be transparent and tell the truth.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And that helped they even help the kids understand the way the father is.
Yeah. No,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what it was, man. So I went up like that. But before I left, the week before I left for the military, my dad would always say, when y'all think y'all a man, come talk to me.
When you think you're a man.
When you think you're a man.
Come talk to me about what?
Anything.
Okay.
So
that door wasn't open prior to that?
No, it wasn't because of the fact that he knew what kind of man he was.
Okay.
You know, this is what he explained to me.
It was a self-preservation kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one day, him and I was riding, and I said, Dad, you remember you told me that if I feel like I'm a man, I can talk to you like a man? He said, yeah. You want to talk? I said, yes, sir. So I talked to him.
Did he ever teach you how to talk, though? Like, did you have reps in those conversations?
No.
Or was it during that conversation, was it like, not to cut you off, but was that like an emotional dump?
Yes.
At that time?
It was.
Okay.
It was. But he didn't teach us that, but yes.
Yeah.
Because he always tell a man don't cry. Man don't show emotions. You know, man up. Be a man.
Right, traditionally.
Traditionally.
Okay.
Yeah, that traditional stuff.
Yeah.
You know, man is macho. And when I talked to him and told him how I felt and how things was going, then he broke down. And And when he pulled up into the yard at our house, he just sat in the car and cried.
Why?
Because I opened up something inside of him that he never saw before.
So do you feel
himself?
So you felt that? Do you feel that in that conversation? Did you feel like he knew that he wasn't doing the right thing, but he was just doing what he could to try to protect everybody?
Yes, that is exactly right.
And so from then on, so this is at 20.
Yep.
You went to the military.
Yep.
But from that point, that was kind of like a rebirth in y'all's relationship.
Yes.
Interesting.
Big time. Because once I left, exactly 4 weeks later, the simplest thing, he needed some tires for his car. I wired him the money, Western Union, to the place where he got his tires from to put 4 brand new tires on his car. That right there said, hey, my son loved me.
Right. And he's a man.
And he's a man.
That's crazy.
He don't hold this against me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he even told me now, one time, before, the main thing with the reason why, because I was so angry, because when he had his heart attack, I would go to the hospital every night. His first one.
Okay.
I would go there every night, every day to see him, every night. I even made my brother go see him because they weren't going to go see him because they were through with him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I went there, and because we had our, I was in high school, senior high school.
Right.
We had our Valentine ball. And my brother and I, my younger brother, we both was running for king.
Okay.
But I gave it up so I could go to the hospital to see him. But at the time, they said, no, you can't now, it's too late. So I didn't go. The next day I went, he tell me, he said, where you been yesterday? I said, we had a event at the school. And he cursed me out. And he called me a bastard son.
Because you weren't there that one night?
Because I wasn't there that one night. You're not even a son of mine.
Do you feel like that was him kind of throwing a tantrum because he wanted you to be there?
He wanted me to be there.
But he didn't know how to say it.
Exactly.
Because men don't show emotion.
That's right. Exactly.
Huh.
So the next time I went, I refused to go see him again, but I take my mom every day.
Right.
So next time I went, and back then in the hospital, the camera, you could see from your room, you could see in the lobby.
Okay.
And he asked my mom, where'd that boy at? My mom said, look in the camera, see him right there sitting there.
You took her, but you didn't go in.
I didn't go in.
Okay.
Now, and then a couple of weeks later, when time for him to come out of the hospital, I was there.
Okay.
He looked at me. He got in the car. He said, you came and got me, huh? I said, yes, sir. He looked at me. He said, I didn't thought you was coming.
So what made you continue to be there? After all that, right? Like, so after, you were a senior in high school, so you're around 18. And after all these years of the feeling of rejection, the anger, what made you continue to want to pursue that relationship?
You know what? As a son, the thing that my dad was a heavyweight boxer.
Okay.
He made me one.
Okay.
And I felt something inside of me.
Yeah.
That my dad had needed me.
Okay.
Because none of the other sons was taking time with him.
Okay.
So I felt that inside of me that he needed me as a son. Because I felt like I needed my daddy.
Right.
And
at that young age.
At that young age. I see kids go around without fathers and all this kind of stuff, and I didn't want to be like that.
Right.
So that's what made me pursue it. And I pursued him through and my mom tell me, say, why don't you just leave here? Let's go.
Why?
She said, because you know how your dad don't like you and the way he treating you. And I said,
so she was trying to protect you.
She trying to protect me.
Right.
I said, you know what, Mom, I can't.
Right.
I said, if I leave here, who gonna do what for you?
So do you feel like some of your anger came because you wanted to hate him and couldn't?
That's a true point. Because I think so. I really believe that.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. Looking back.
Yeah, looking back now, I believe so.
So 79, he put you out, but you had your first kid in 77.
77. Yeah.
Right. Tell me the thought process when you first found out that you was having your first kid.
My first process was, I got to do something.
You got to do something.
I got to do something.
How old were you? 18.
18.
18.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, I got to do something. Yep, that's what I said. I said, I got to do something.
Anything. Okay.
I got to do something for my child. That's what I said. And then when she had him, I found out he was a son. I even, that even made me mad that I focused so much on not treating my child the way my dad treated me
Yeah.
that I lost focus on what I was doing.
How to be
That
a
makes
dad.
sense?
So you were, let me see if I can paraphrase. You tell me if I'm wrong. That you were so focused on what not to do that you never really understood what to do.
What to do. Exactly. That's it.
So when you found out it's a son, were you scared? I mean, you're a kid.
Yeah.
We're still dealing with your own anger.
Yeah.
Did you feel like, at least I'm not going to be that bad?
That's right.
Okay.
And I'm going to be there for my son no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
So the son is born. Okay. You go off to the military. And then your second child was born what year?
79.
79. The year you left.
The day I left.
How'd that feel?
I felt like I deserted a kid. That's what I felt like.
Even though you were doing what was best for you.
You know, doing what's best for me.
So how did you deal with that?
I just went through it day by day,
Yeah.
pretending like it was okay. Just pretending like it was okay.
Because no one taught you how to deal with it.
Nobody taught me.
Up until this point, no one taught you how to be a dad.
Nope.
No one taught you how to really be a man.
Nope.
No one taught you how to deal with emotions.
Nope.
So you just out in this world. Where were you? Where were you stationed?
Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Yep.
And your first son is in South Carolina still.
Yep.
And your daughter is, what name him? Lamont was in South Carolina. Sean
Sean was in South Carolina
was in
too.
South Carolina too. Okay. And you were in Oklahoma.
I was in Oklahoma.
Foreign place.
Yep. First time out the state.
First time out of the state.
Yep. Yeah, actually, second time.
Okay, second time out of the state as a 20-year-old.
Yep.
That just this newly devised plan
Yep.
with 2 kids,
Yep.
with 2 different ladies,
Yep.
and you're not near neither one of them.
Not near
With
neither
no idea how to deal with the emotions you're feeling.
And just broke up with the woman that we was engaged to be married with, which is your mother.
My mom.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Which y'all were kids.
Kids. Yep.
Right? Now, this may be a sore subject, so you don't have to expand on it, but you actually had my mom pregnant when she was 17.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Tell me about that.
That was terrible.
Terrible in what way?
That I felt like, man, I felt like I failed everybody.
Including, who did they make you feel that way, or was that internal?
I kept it internal.
Okay.
Yeah, but that made me feel. Matter of fact, I almost lost my mind.
Really?
Yes.
What was the
Because
overwhelming
I didn't know how to deal with it.
Right.
And you know, and folks back then, man, everybody saying I'm gonna do this and he gonna do this and they ain't no good and blah 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 blah.
You started to internalize that.
Yeah, so I started turning out all that stuff, and man, I started acting like people said I was.
Which is key, right? So
right.
words have extreme power.
Extreme power.
Specifically, all right, so think about a kid, right? So again, going back to my kid, there's certain words we can't say around him,
Right.
Because he'll just say it.
That's right.
Right? And there's certain things we can't tell him because they only believe, they don't know anything.
They don't know
Like
anything.
kids know nothing. They only know what they're taught, what they see, what they experience. So if their experience is that, you know, this inferiority,
Yeah.
they have to fight that forever, right? And so now I think you were put in a position where, and I think this happens a lot, man, so this story is important, that you actually live down to the stereotype that's placed upon you.
That's right.
Or the expectations that are placed upon you. This is why, not to speak too much, but this is why I think it is important to know that the second worst thing besides the expectations that are unrealistic are no expectations
No
at
expectation at all.
Because how am I supposed? What am I? Who cares?
Who cares?
at
That's
that
exactly
point?
right. That's
Is that
the
the feeling
mentality.
that you felt?
That's the mentality.
So
Who cares?
once mom, because that, she had some struggles with that too on her side of the family, which I'm not going to tell her story for her.
Right.
But and those were lasting impressions.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So going back now, okay, we're 79. You're in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, struggling with what truthfully is depression.
Yep. That's right.
If you want to put a label on it, and you're there for how long?
From April to September.
So it's September. September, you go where?
Germany.
You go to Germany.
Yes.
Okay. So this is 79 still.
79 still.
And you're there for how long?
Germany?
Yeah.
I was there until the next April before I came back home and married your mom.
Married my mom in 80.
In 80, yep.
Okay. And then y'all went back to Germany, right?
Yeah, I went back to Germany, and then she came later.
Okay,
yeah.
and then Ebony was born.
And Ebony was born
in '82, which is my sister. And so, talk to me now. It's your third kid,
Yep.
right? With the woman that you were supposed to marry before, and now you're with them, though.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
That kind of brought me together a little bit more as a father, learning stuff as a father.
Okay.
When I say that, I mean, I learned that a father is just not buying material stuff or, but being there.
Right.
Being there.
Presence over presence.
Yeah, and that helped me. But it's still, there are outlying stuff that I had to deal with. Because there wasn't settled with your mom that I had those kids, you know what I'm saying? And then I couldn't associate with them like I wanted to.
The other ones.
Okay. As a kid, as a father.
Right.
So that too. But my main thing is this, that I didn't get the help that I needed to get.
In what way?
Of being a father. Okay. I could have got help.
Okay.
I could have got a mentor. I could have got counseling.
Okay.
I could have got, you know what I'm saying? I didn't. And I didn't because I was so angry still and so depressed still that I did some of everything else to try to cover everything.
Like what?
I went to drugs. I went to drinking. I went to, other women, everything. Everything.
To feel validated.
To validate that. Yeah. And didn't even stop to realize that nothing helped. Nothing helped.
It made it worse.
It made it worse.
Okay.
It made it worse.
So how do you feel like, what type of father do you think you were when it was you, Mom, and Ebony?
I was believing myself that I was being a good father.
Okay.
I was being that outstanding father.
Right.
Every time Ebony was right there, I couldn't move. She was always with me. Yeah. We even have a party. She, we put her to sleep. She wakes up and come down there. She want to dance with my foot. She won't let her mama dance with me.
Right.
See, I felt like I was that father.
Yeah.
But I was still going through that stuff.
Right.
See, and then she grew up just like that.
So do you feel like Ebony at the time was giving you the validation that you were okay, that you were looking for?
Exactly.
Because she was there.
Because she was there.
And she wanted to be there.
Okay. Yep. And I had a complete family.
You had a complete family.
Because I always said I wanted to be a family.
You had a complete family optically, on the outside.
Yeah.
But you still, do you feel like as your dad was there but wasn't there, do you feel like you were the same thing at the time?
Yep. With my other two kids, yep.
Man. Okay. So then fast forward now, 82, 83, I'm born. Okay. And I was born back in South Carolina. Right. Where were you when I was born?
Washington State.
You were stationed there?
Yep.
Still in the military?
Fort Lewis, Washington.
Still in the military?
Still in the military.
Still in the military.
Yep.
Okay. And you find out you're having a boy now with your wife. Did you feel like you were able to, you had an opportunity to atone for not being there for the month?
Yeah.
And you took that.
And not only that, but I also said, now I got my son, that I can be the father that I wanted my father to be to me. See? And now I got my son.
Saying that, did you feel like Lamont was your son, but you wasn't able to, for whatever reason?
Yeah.
Well, why do you feel like you weren't able to be the father to him?
Because his mother and I wasn't married and we wasn't there.
So in your mind,
separation,
your mind, you needed the totality of the family structure.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I'm talking about in that family structure.
Got you.
So I said, not only that, I said, what make that bigger even this? Wow, I got a Tyrone Jr.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that made it even bigger, you know what I'm saying?
Do you feel like that's why you named me that?
Well, your mother did.
Okay.
Yeah, your mother did.
Okay.
But I was glad of it. But when I saw you, I was so overwhelmed that all I could do was laugh.
Right.
And she got mad. Because all I could do was laugh because I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Right,
I got my son, now I got my junior, and I can do this and we can do that. Yeah. And I done planned your whole life,
Right.
When he get this age and that age, and now you're a baby now. First time I seen you, you was a month old.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay.
But I found out that I didn't have it.
Explain that.
I didn't have it because I still hadn't dealt with what I was going through.
So you're still struggling?
So I was still struggling.
With what exactly, do you know?
Past.
Okay.
The past.
The failures that you,
the failures.
Perceived failures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the failures.
So, again, if this is too sensitive, you cannot expand on it. But then 6 months after I'm born, you have another child.
Yep.
Tashara, which again, we're going to name them all because they deserve their respect.
Yep.
Talk to me about that feeling. Because I know my mom was probably like, again,
Yeah.
you know, tell me how you feel, though. Because we always talk about the person who was allegedly whatever done wrong.
I felt.
How do you feel?
Again, I felt like a man that dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say this, you know, regardless of how things happen, I'm proud of my kids.
Right.
But the thing was, I didn't want a kid then, you know, because
Another kid.
I didn't want another kid. Because your mom and I had separated.
Okay.
I wanted her back.
Okay.
So I didn't want another kid.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? So, but I didn't do the thing to protect me from not having another kid.
I mean, that's a fair point.
You know what I'm
Or
saying?
do the things to protect you from losing
The
my mother.
family. That's right.
Yeah.
And even so, when your mom got to Washington, when y'all got there, the girl was pregnant. Your mom laughed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I said, she said, "So you did it again, huh?" You know, like that. You know, so I was like,
You didn't know what to do.
"It is what it is now." You know what I'm saying?
Right. Which, looking as a 38-year-old man, I can look back and say that's actually admirable.
Yeah.
That you at least said, "What you want me to do? You
want
know,
me to do
I can't ask this woman to do anything.
Yep, that's right.
You know, that's gonna harm her." So now you have, this is 1983.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell you something that I realized when I got older, sorting through my own feelings. 1983, you have 5 kids by 4 women.
4 women. 4 different mothers.
And you're 24?
Yep.
That's insane. Like,
Yeah.
tell me the feeling that you felt when you look back and like, dog, I'm 4 years ago, I was at the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I'm over here, and how'd you get it together? What was going through your mind during that time? Did you even think about that?
Crazy stuff. Yes. Man, I have terrible nights, not sleeping. And I try to compensate everything else to, you know, I do everything else to try to compensate that. Not even think about it. And not knowing that I was messing up my own life.
So messing up your own life.
Messing up my own life. And in the same process, destroying other people's lives. See?
Expand on that.
I was destroying my family. Everybody I talked to. Everything.
You felt like you were poisonous.
I felt like I was poisoned, man.
Could you feel that though?
Yes. That's an ill feeling.
Right.
That's a sick feeling.
I think one of the feelings that people don't really, which I've dealt with in my own depression, is you know something's wrong, but you feel like you should be able to fix it, and now you're frustrated because you can't fix the thing that you're frustrated about.
Yep.
And it's just a nasty cycle.
Yep.
So I'm born.
Yep.
And I think you're the best thing walking at the time. Like we had.
Yeah.
I always say this, man, and I want you to hear this because I've said it about you, and I'm gonna say it to you. I always said he was a great dad, probably not a good husband. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you can, as a man, I can separate those things.
Yeah.
So this was 95-ish, right? When, well, I've always been kind of in tune to the temperature of the house. And to be 100% honest with you, the way the house was, which obviously you never did anything physically to hurt my mom, or she never did anything physical to hurt you. It wasn't that type of deal. But the discourse makes me so averse to arguing now, like it literally makes my skin crawl.
Right.
But about 95-ish, 96 is that's when we started to go through the process of, okay, this divorce is going to really happen.
Yeah.
When it became final, right? You moved out when we were, 14-ish.
Yeah.
What was that feeling? What was the final straw for you to say, man, this is really over?
I can tell you what happened.
Tell me what happened. Because I don't know.
I was homeless.
Okay. After you left?
After I left.
Okay.
I was living in the park, Carpenter's Cove Park. And I was working at Fort Hood. I walked from Carpenter's Cove to Killeen every single day, back and forth.
Okay.
And my so-called friends passed me and blow the horn, and then they said they didn't see me.
Right.
When I see them.
Right.
But anyway.
In fairness, though, a lot of people don't want to get
involved.
Yeah. They don't want to have to pick sides.
And I didn't tell people.
Right.
You know, a lot of other ones said, all you had to do was just tell me, man. But I wanted to, I felt so much as a failure, as a man.
Still.
A daddy, a husband, a man.
Same feelings.
Same feeling.
Okay.
That I went and got a 5-gallon can of gasoline. and a cigarette lighter.
Right.
And that little pond, if you remember, over there by the basketball goals,
Yeah.
I stayed at that pond at night, and I went to gouge myself with that gasoline. And I heard a voice said, "It's not over. I'm not done with you yet." Mm-hmm. And I threw the gasoline in the water, threw the lighter away, and I walked out. And I started moving up from there.
Okay. I didn't know you were homeless.
Yeah, I know y'all didn't.
But I remember vividly the night that Mom said, "That's it. You have got to go."
Yep.
And I do remember we had started to struggle a little bit financially prior to that.
Yeah.
Coming back from Germany and things of that nature. But I remember that was kind of a turning point where things just went crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We went to being okay.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not being, we wasn't in the top 1% at all, but we also we still moved every year, you know, but we were okay. Good Christmases. Right. You know, I didn't really feel a pinch of anything, starter jackets and all of that kind of stuff. After that, dog, I don't even know if you know how bad it got.
Oh, yeah, I know how bad it got.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people who grew up with me, my closest friends, didn't know all the stuff we went through. And so what that did for me, I thought I went from wanting to be just like you to like, I don't want to talk to this dude at all.
Yeah. I know.
And so when you would call, I go on, because I was dealing with the same things you were dealing with. Now that I hear it audibly. It was the fact that every time I write my name, it's like a remembrance to, at the time, right? Again, this is 14, 15-year-old me. At the time of the person that left us.
Yeah.
And how could you do that?
Yeah.
You know, how could you leave my mom in this place of hurt?
Yep.
You know, and you know, we bounced around living room to living room and living with these people and that people, and I could just see the toll it was taking. And it made me have a high level of resentment towards you, to be 100% honest with you.
Well, we talked about it, remember?
Yeah. and it was like, how could I not be that way?
Yeah.
But hearing you talk now, we're actually very, very, very similar.
Yep.
You know, and time passes. Time does not heal wounds. It takes work to heal the wounds.
That's right.
When did you feel like, after, you know, the finality of, because you moved?
Yeah.
Walk me through the thought process of now fighting those feelings of, you already feel like you failed. You already feel like you weren't there for 2 of your kids. Now a third you feel like you weren't there for. And now the other 2 you feel like you're not there for. Walk me through the process of actually getting up and relocating.
I felt like if you change atmosphere, change locations, you can get a brand new start.
Okay. So you needed a change of scenery.
But at that time, I started getting help. I realized I started getting
I never knew that.
Yeah, I started getting help.
In what form?
I started getting counseling.
Okay.
I get counseling, and I started talking to people that, some people that look up to me.
Yeah.
You know, and I started talking to them. Because one guy told me, he said, either Tyrone, let me tell you something, man. He said, you're giving people what they want.
Okay.
They know you better than anybody else. And when they say something, they don't see the person push the button. They see your reaction.
So let's talk about those reactions, right? Now, a part of us moving around, and again, this is full transparency, is because we didn't want to run into you because I felt like you were losing your mind.
Yep.
Is that the case?
Yep. But
because that wasn't you. I'm like, this is not the guy that I know.
See, and see, this is the thing. And when I did my marriage classes, I tell people this in fathering classes. I said, listen. They say, well, what happened? I say, me.
Okay.
I don't want to point my finger at nobody else. Me. Right. But the thing is, I was trying to keep my sense.
Okay.
And when losing it at the same time.
You were trying to keep the facade.
Oh, but and I wanted to see. I didn't never want to be without you guys.
Right.
So when Mom started moving around, and said that I was dangerous and I was that I went. You didn't even know that they came and got me out of the basketball game one night.
I did not know that.
The Copper Cove police did.
I did not know that.
They came and got me out of the gym and said, you can't be within 200 yards.
You could understand why, though.
I understand why, but the point is, I was coaching y'all then. Right. You know, I said, wait a minute, man, that's 2 football fields.
Yeah.
You know, so that sent me on another, because again, I never dealt with my anger.
Right.
So that put me on another fringe.
You want to hear something crazy? At that time, I didn't want you around, but I still wanted you to be proud of me.
I was.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was a weird thing. Like, I didn't want you to see me do well, but I wanted you to know I was doing well for two reasons. And this is my immaturity at the time. One, to prove that I didn't need you.
Yep.
Two, because you introduced me to the game of basketball. And so I felt like, subconsciously, now thinking about it, that, okay, this is still a tie that we have.
Yep.
And I still want him to know that it wasn't in vain. And it kind of spun me out of control to where I'd always been emotional to begin with. You know, I tell people I cry now. You know what I'm saying? I'm a crier. I just am. and that was hard for me to accept as a kid, because again, as a man, you're not supposed to cry, you know. But it spun me out of control to where I felt like I had to make it in basketball, or else we will struggle forever.
You'd have been a failure too. That's what you thought.
That's the feelings, right? Now that you're saying it, those are the feelings, and those are the feelings, honestly, that I still struggle with right now.
And that's why I became so successful as a basketball coach. Because I didn't want to fail.
Right.
So I put everything in it.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, I spent time in the library. I spent time with videotapes. You know, because I didn't want to fail.
Well, I mean, that feeling can definitely be channeled.
Yeah. Oh, it can.
More successful route. So we've gone through various ups and downs.
Yeah.
Right. But just talking about you, man, you move away, right? Do you feel like the change of scenery set you on a new path? Yeah. In what ways?
I started rebuilding my life as of take more time to think things through, and understood that I can't change what was. I can only make new things. Start from here. I can't start from yesterday. I got to start from here.
Right.
You know, the past is gone.
Right.
Yesterday was, today is. Tomorrow got to come. And that's what I did. But I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you one more thing first that got me. When I came to one of your basketball games, and you had your mother's name on your sneakers, and I made a joke. Yeah. And I said, "Oh, you put your mom's name on your sneakers," and in front of everybody out there, you said, "You ain't never did nothing for me." Yeah. And I was like,
because I didn't know how to parse those feelings.
And I was like, boom.
But talking about some of those things, man, I felt like I had to take on the proverbial man of the house role. And I didn't know what I was doing, nor did I even have to do that. You know what I'm saying? But all I knew was to protect. And so I kind of suppressed my own feelings. And they just manifested in all these different ways. And, you know, same thing with, you know, girls and things of that nature. Like, it's literally the same thing, man. So fast forward, you got the help you felt like you needed. Our relationship started to mend, which... do you feel like, talking about mending relationships, do you feel like your relationship with your dad was at a good space when he passed?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. He even told me, he said, "You're not just my son, you're my best friend." Wow. Yeah, because I made a trip from Texas. You might not remember, but I made a trip from Texas to South Carolina alone. And I talked to him. I went down there to tell him, I said, "Dad, forgive me for the way I turned out.
Interesting.
And I forgive you for the way I turned out."
That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
And what did he say to that?
He turned in the bed and said, "I love you, son. And the reason why I did what I did, because I saw me in you, and I didn't like it."
So was that your first time hearing him say that, "I love you, son"?
Yep. No, that wasn't the very first time.
Okay.
But in that arena, in that state of mind,
in that
sequence.
Time. Yeah. Which is interesting, man, because it leads to something that I want to make sure that you know, is that a lot of the reason why I feel like I was able to get over things is because I stopped expecting you to be anything other than my dad.
Yeah.
Like, if you call me, you call me. You know, if you don't, you don't. I'm not mad at it no more. You know what I'm saying? People have lives. When we talk, it's all love. Yep. And a lot of that also, man, is, I want you to know this. Like, I want you to verbally hear me say this, is that I formally relieve you of the pressure of ever having to make up for what you perceived was lost time, or make up for any sort of mistakes you thought you made. life is life, bro.
Yep.
You know, and the older I get, the more I realize, man, this man had 5 kids by 24. That's hard.
Yep.
Without anybody telling them what to do, that's hard. And you know what? Mama do be tripping. So it is what it is, right? Yeah. And nobody tells you how to fight this fight called manhood, right? And the continuous war that we have internally between the man that we should be and the you know what that we are consistently. Yep. Because what we're fed is nonsense. Yeah. And you never did that to me. You never gave me a sick idea. Even, you know, in some of the, you know, wayward things that you did, you never told me that that was cool. Never. Everything you showed me, being a father, is things that I find myself doing now. Right. And so I turned out okay. You know, I have my own issues and things, but I want to let you know, man, that I felt this for quite a while, but I never told you this. And it's that you don't even need my forgiveness. What's done is done. What happened, happened. The main thing I wanted to get out of this, man, was for you to get your story out, because it's not an easy decision, to leave your family.
That's right.
And it's now knowing that you weren't taught how to do that, I understand more. It helps me understand myself more. And so from here moving forward, which has always been this way, but for sure here moving forward, I want you to know I love you for who you are. I love you for what you did. And I appreciate you just as a man. I'm 38 now.
Appreciate that.
The 16-year-old me that person don't even exist no more, man.
I appreciate that.
So you don't ever feel like you don't have to do nothing. You don't have to say nothing. You don't have to be nowhere. Like I can't love you more than I love you now. There's nothing you can do for that to amplify. All right? I want you to hear me say that.
I appreciate that.
So moving from that, man, this is your first time here at my house.
Yep.
This is your first time meeting my son.
Yep.
Talk to me about those feelings.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
One word. I almost got sick before I came.
He's a wild man. I can tell you were nervous.
Yeah. Yeah. Because again, the old feelings try to come back up.
Like what?
The failure.
Okay.
I didn't want to come here and be a failure to your son that I thought I was a failure to you. See? So that old feeling thought come back. And when you told me that, Dad, he ain't gonna talk right away.
Right.
But he did.
He absolutely did. He shocked me.
He did. And I shocked him when he opened the door and saw me.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, Bubba, he looked either, whoa, he backed up. Right. But after that,
he was cool.
Right. And see, I said, wow, this is the spirit of the voids in him.
Right.
We are people person.
And that's what kind of, not to cut you off, but that's what threw me off when you said that you were isolated before. That's not the person I know.
Yeah.
But it also makes sense because I struggle with that. Like, I love people, but I get tired of them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's like I find myself trying to find those validation moments just to ensure that I'm cool. Like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I may hold on to friendships that I shouldn't hold on to. I may have some of my priorities out of order. You know what I'm saying? Because of that. And it's things that I'm actively working on, man. But just to get back to the point of my son, I think, BJ is probably the most loving kid. And I'm not saying that just because that's my son.
No. I know what you're saying.
Like, sometimes I have to like stop him from giving hugs. You know what I'm saying? Not because that's not what men do, but just like, I don't want him to get his feelings hurt.
Right.
I don't want him to feel like he loves people and they don't return love in the same way.
Yeah.
But when he opened up to you so quickly, I had to stop myself from because it's just my son, so I just protect him.
Right.
I had to stop myself from doing that and say, well, that's his grandfather. You know what I'm saying? And then plus I didn't know how you would be because you ain't been around babies like that in a while, and he'll jump on your head.
Yeah. Oh, he already did.
You know what I'm saying? Like
he already did. That's why I said let him go.
Yeah.
Because see, I with him now that explains to me in the inwardly that I become a sponge. I love it when he comes like that. Hey, Pop. Hey, Papa. And he jump all over me and he want to lay and look all in my face.
He's going to ask you a million questions.
And I love that. I love that because that tells me he realizes who I am. Because as I said to you before, one time I said to him, he see me on iPad and stuff. He look at the iPad all the time. So I'm just a character. He never seen me in real life. So I'm just a character because I said, you got to remember, he's a child. You know what I'm saying? So when I see him now, he know I'm real.
Yeah.
So when he see me on the iPad now, he'll know that's Papa. I know him now. You know what I mean?
And I think spiritually, he sees me and you.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I think spiritually he does, and I think that he's drawn to that because that's like my boy.
And he look at me and say, "What's your name?"
Yep.
And he think that's funny because I say Tyrone.
He does. So wow. I think, man, we'll end with this because there is a little part of me that I've, as I'm reflecting on our time together, because at the moment of this recording, this is my first time seeing each other in 5 years.
Yep.
And before that, it had probably been, before 2017,
right.
It had probably been, you came a year before, 2016. But before that, it had probably been 5 years.
Yeah.
And then before that, it had probably been, 7 or 8.
Yep.
And so we have these long gaps.
That's gaps, yep.
And so there is a part of me, man, that once I realized that I still, even though I'm 38, I'm secure in the man that I am, I have my own family, there's still a part of me that is the son that wants his dad to be proud of.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I told you many a times, I am proud of you, son. I am real proud of you.
I think
I'm proud of you of not so much of what you be, what you are. I'm proud of how you become who you are. Because you tell me, you said, Pop, I don't need nothing. I'm gonna do this thing. I don't, in a sense, I had to realize, he's not telling me he don't need me. He just got to do his own thing. Because you even told me, no, Pop, I don't use Tyrone because I have to be established.
Right.
You've already established.
Right.
And like I told your mom, I say, listen, I don't care how much you try to fight this.
Right.
TJ is more like me than you realize.
This is true. And I think one thing that Mom did well that we had to have a conversation about, and I'm saying this because a lot of single mothers may do this, and they say, well, you just like your dad, and they use it in a derogatory term.
Right.
She did that early, but then once I told her I didn't like that, she stopped. And she never said bad words about you. She would actually say, I would be the one that's saying words that I can't even say now in regards to you.
Right.
And she would say, well, that's still your daddy.
Yep.
And I would say,
yeah,
and say whatever I'm going to say. You know what I'm saying? Because that was just anger that materialized into other things that I didn't deal with it until really, truly, until I was responsible for somebody else's emotions, which is, my wife's now and my kids. So here's the last question that I ask people, man. And we're talking about, because as a father, you're responsible for the very roots of an entire family tree, which is some of the weight that you were carrying when you were younger that you probably didn't realize. Awareness is heavy.
Yeah.
Understanding comes with a level of sadness that's hard to balance when you're not taught what it is, right? So as a father, man, knowing your kids now, knowing that you've gotten through some of the mental anguish that you've been through, what would you like your legacy, your fatherhood legacy, when you pass? What do you want us to say about you?
That's kind of, I don't want to say deep, but that's kind of, I want my kids to say about me that my dad tried his best to understand us. Because, like, you said this one time to me when you was talking at that parking lot in Springfield. You say, Pop, you was never a deadbeat dad to me. That's what you tell me. You said you never was a deadbeat dad. You weren't there some of the time I needed you, but you weren't a deadbeat dad.
Right.
And that's the thing that I always want y'all to remember. And I don't look at it as a legend. I look at it as the memory of a father. That's what I look at it, the memory of a father. People put titles on a lot of things, labels on a lot of things, but that's what I want to remember me as a father. And not just a father.
Right.
A dad.
Right.
A pops.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I want. That's what I want.
Okay.
And let me tell you this too before you close.
Yes, sir.
When you graduate from college, and you gave me the invitation. Mm-hmm. The reason I didn't come,
Tell me.
because again, I felt like you just gave it to me because I was the father, but you really didn't want me there. That's what I felt like.
And that's the important point, because we could have talked about that.
Yeah.
Had you been given the practice of opening up the door for those conversations, then I would have had the skills to have those conversations with you. But I was so busy thinking I never needed you before, so I don't need. Again, I didn't know how to parse the idea of my whole life as opposed to just this small window where you wasn't as accessible as you were when you lived with us. And so to me, it was like, I did it by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I filled out FAFSA by myself.
Yeah.
All of these things I had to do alone just because mama didn't know. And she did the best she could. And she did a good job. You know what I'm saying? But when you didn't come, that pissed me off to no end. Like, I was mad until I graduated the second time.
Yep.
And I had to go down there by myself. And I'll be honest with you, that day that I graduated from undergrad, that's when the twins, Ebb's twins, were babies.
Yeah.
Me, Mom, and Eb probably got into the worst argument we ever got into. And it come down to it where I finally said, Mama, what is wrong? This ain't that. She finally said, it wasn't supposed to be like this. So the same thing that you were fighting with, she was fighting with.
Yeah.
And the same thing that you two were fighting with, me and Eb were fighting with.
Yep.
When truthfully, if we would have had the practice of conversation,
Yep.
then we probably could have been mended a while ago.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so one of the things that I'm trying to make sure that we don't do is that the poison that was inserted into you, because it's not your fault. I want you to know I know that. And that was passed through, I don't pass on. But that means I have my own work to do.
Yeah.
Right? That's not your responsibility. That means that I have my own work to do. But last thing we'll ask, man, is I like to ask this question. You've been a dad for a long time.
Yeah.
You've been a papa for a long time. What advice do you have, if any, for new fathers or just fathers in general?
New fathers or fathers in general is to don't make assumptions of your kids. Get to know your kids. Spend time with them, not money on them. You know, get to know them. You'll be surprised what you can develop when you get to know your child as a father. As a father.
I'll tell you what you get to know yourself.
Yourself. It's a mirror reflector.
Absolutely. And you get to know your toxic traits, the things that, and it's not because they're toxic, it's because how you respond to how they're acting.
How they respond.
And I think that's key, man, because a lot of us forget that a father-son, a mother-daughter, a parenthood is just a relationship.
It's just a relationship.
Like, these are humans.
Yep.
They're not your property.
Yep.
Yes, they belong to you biologically, but these are human beings with their own flesh, blood, emotions, spiritual, emotional, physical well-being that you are now responsible for.
Now, let me tell you this. You help me even now. I'm 62. You 38. The oldest is 44. You help me now still be a father that I had desired to be.
Man, that means
because
a lot.
You said, I talk to my child.
I do.
I talk to my child. Let's talk it out. And what you don't understand is this, and your mother might remember this. I punished you one day for something. You went in the room. I said, go to your room. And I was mad. And I talk loud when I get angry.
Right.
And you went in the room and you was mad, you was crying. But you came back out the room. I said, I know that boy came back out that room. But you came back out the room and you sat at the dinner table where I was sitting at. And I was reading the Bible. And you said, Dad, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah. What you got to ask me? He said, you said, if you would have done something, would God have punished you that way? I was like, whoa. The punishment didn't meet the crime. And I looked at you and said, and Dale looked at me and said, you got to answer? I said, No. Come on out the room, son. Come on out the room.
I think that's the key, man. First,
Then you sat down and I talked to you. I said, now T, you know when I tell you not to do a certain thing, man, you can't do it. And you say, yes, sir. That's okay. I say, if you got a problem, just ask me. See, and that's where I saw me in you. When you, the other day when Bubba was there and he was mad, and you said, let's talk about it. I said, wow. and that made me felt so good, man, being here to see this because and experience this because I could say, wow, I wasn't that bad.
No.
I wasn't that bad. No matter how I feel the rejection, I wasn't that bad. I said, because he doing some of the things with his son that I did with him. You know?
Most of the times, man, it's not. We're never as bad as we think. We're never as good as we think.
It's not as good as we think. That's
Life, regresses to the mean, with the average. You just hope that your average is above average.
It's above average.
And so that means a lot to me, man, that I'm able to help you,
Yes.
in your continuing fatherhood, because fatherhood it's a thing that's permanent.
It's permanent.
And you can't get rid of it, man. So that wraps our time, man, but I want to make sure that I let you know I love you. Thank you for doing this. You didn't have to. I appreciate you getting your side out and doing it in a way that was transparent. Yeah, I think it's really going to help people. And just know, man, that, again, there ain't no mistakes that can be made that's irreversible for me. And there is no deed that can be done to make me love you more than I do now. That's just my dad, and that's it.
That's it.
All right?
I appreciate it, son.
Love you, man.
Love you
All
too.
right. That is a wrap. Whew. That was good.
Yep. Sure was.